Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Vilga, and in this video I'll be showing you how I liked to draw plants on Procreate. And this is the approach where I usually use brushes that look like pencils, and in this case it's a gloaming brush. You can find it in the drawing category in Procreate's default brushes, so if you have Procreate you should have that brush. So it's under drawing, it's called gloaming. I didn't do anything to that brush, so I pretty much just used it as it is. And I quite like it because if you draw with it using a larger size, it looks like it's watercolor. But if you draw it small, it looks like pencil strokes. Okay, so what I'm doing here is sort of just making chaos and trying to make sense of it. Okay, now this one here on the bottom and this one is starting to look like a leaf. Yeah, it's starting to look like a leaf. Ignore that. Just an accidental touch, ignore. Turn this one too into a leaf. Oh, and by the way, I think it's about to rain here, so if you hear some noise, sorry about that. Okay, I'm drawing some shade. Oh, and this is using the exact same brush. I'm just applying more pressure so it looks that dark. Adding some shade below. Adding more shade below this leaf. And it's a good idea to make the shade resemble the shape of leaves. And this might look ugly right now and looks like it's a lot of chaos, but it's gonna look better, I promise you. Another leaf in the back. And when I'm doing this, I don't really lift my pencil off the screen, so it's just one stroke. Trying with lower opacity. I don't think this looks that good. Yeah, I don't think it looks that good. Adding another leaf over there. So whatever's light is actually in the foreground. And whatever's dark is in the back. It's either in the foreground and it's being hit by direct light from above. 100% opacity again. I'm adding the ribs of, I don't know if you call it ribs or veins. Anyway, the ribs of the leaves. Some more shade below. Some holes. Adding holes to leaves make it look organic. Adding cuts as well. So if you're doing leaves, you can just add some cuts and some holes. Should look good. A little bud over here. A budding leaf. More ribs. Yeah, pretty much holes on the leaves. But don't do too much, otherwise it'll look like it's being devoured by worms. More ribs. Okay, I'm now drawing the stem. By the way, if you're drawing on light areas, it's good to draw dark, like what I'm doing now. There, see, I'm drawing it dark. And now I'm going to erase to bring out the stem in the dark area. And I'm actually erasing using the exact same brush, the gloaming brush. Because you can't really see dark on dark. So I'm going to erase it out to make it look bright. So it's light on dark. Erasing. Kind of makes it look like it's glowing too. It's very interesting. Another stem. Yeah, never mind. Okay, redoing it. Fix it a bit. Another one. This is just sort of rim lighting the edges of the leaves to make it seem like it's catching light. Because plants are organic things, so it's impossible that some leaves are just completely in the dark and others are completely in the light. So at least partially bring out areas of the leaf into the light and keep the rest in the dark. Lower opacity. So the light's coming directly from above, so I'm adding shade to this leaf here. And erasing it out a bit to bring out the shape of that hole. So it's pretty much shade from that leaf above. Okay, adding the stem again. It's a light area, so I'm using dark strokes. It's good to just stay patient when doing this. More rim lighting. Yeah, looks good. Another hole. Let's see how it looks. It looks quite good from afar. I think that's pretty much it for this one. And there are not many things to remember from this study right here. It's just two things. So darks on light. So drawing dark on light, and because you can't really see dark on dark, so when on dark areas you draw it light. And I'm gonna do another one. So that was one approach of drawing plants / leaves. This is gonna be another one. I'm gonna plan it out. So divide the plant into modules, into segments. Because I don't want to go straight into it and end up with an ugly mess. So I'm just going to plan it out, sketching it out, so I can render later. So yeah, it's kind of like a reverse. It's like an upside down pine cone. Yeah, we can go with this. So this technique is actually simple. Again, using the gloaming brush. And let me show you the technique right down here. And you're very welcome to try at home. Okay, so it's pretty much zigzags, repetitive squiggles, these zigzags. And if you want it darker, you can overlap. But don't just block solid black. Like if you want to make a dark area, you should just keep on doing lots of those zigzags. So I'm drawing out the leaves on the edges here. Just keep drawing it out. It's only on the edges. This tree is sort of, it's more like a bush. And it's slouching down. Okay, just keep on adding leaves around the edges. Not around the whole edge, just some parts of it. And now we start with the zigzags. I'm starting down here to slowly draw out the shade. So there are some leaves under there. So these zigzags is pretty much like cross hatching. So you're slowly making it darker and darker and darker. But because it's actually it's zigzags, it's not actually cross hatching where you're just making repetitive lines. You're making repetitive zigzags, and this kind of cross hatching will make it look like it's leaves. That's why it's important to not just block in like a solid dark, like a solid black. Instead of doing that, you should just keep on drawing these overlapping zigzags. You can erase it out too. And it might take a while. But just have patience. This is just one way of doing it. By no means is this the only way of drawing plants. But I quite like doing this. It takes quite a while to finish, but the end result looks very convincing. And I used to do this. Actually quite still do. do this when drawing with a pencil, like a real pencil. So if you are a traditional artist, go ahead and try this method. Pretty much the same approach. It would be better for you if you were to use a regular pencil instead of a mechanical one, because mechanical ones are too pointy, because you want the lines, the strokes, to be sort of fat and faded. Like, it's going to take you so long if you were to do this with a mechanical pencil. So yeah, just keep on adding shade where the shade's supposed to be. Keep on adding shade. It's just zigzags. All I've been doing so far is just zigzags. Nothing more. If you can do zigzag, you should be able to do this. Keep on doing it for areas you think should be very dark. Keep overlapping. And these two segments are actually on the very top of this bush. So, and you're sort of looking at it on eye level. So looking at this, it's like you're looking up at these two segments of the bush. So these should be completely on the shade. If you know what I mean. Leave a little bit of light. Yeah, so the light is directly coming from above. Drawing it out here just so you know. So this one is casting shadows to this leaf below. Not leaf, I mean a segment of the bush. So draw out the shade. And this one is casting shade down here. And this one's casting shade to this part here. See if it looks good with lower opacity. Yeah, it actually doesn't look that good. So I'm doing it again with 100% opacity, but drawing very lightly with a light touch. This is looking better. Fixed it up a bit. Some more darks. Erasing it out. It looked a bit big. Well, hopefully this is starting to look like a bush. This one's a little root. Some branches. Again, because it's light, so I'm drawing the branches dark. Erasing that bit there because it's on the dark. Dark on light and light on dark. Some more leaves around the outer parts. Making a hole here. Actually, no, it just doesn't look like a normal hole. It looks like it's another branch. And this one here too. Although I don't know how I feel about it. It doesn't look that good. No, get rid of it. Another branch. Maybe not. Let's try erasing it out over here. And force the edges by just doing some dark strokes. Darkening it. Darken it a bit, still using zigzag shapes. I think that's it for the bush. So now we can go ahead and draw shadows on the ground. This bush is relatively close to the ground, so go ahead and draw the shadow right there. Again, still using the gloaming brush. Be sure to remember, well, not remember, more consider where the shadows are supposed to fall by looking at the shape of this bush. Some squiggles here to indicate the ground. Grasses, I don't know. Some background work might make it look good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I'm gonna do a couple more on the same page, and I'll just show you at the end of this video. So let me know what you think about this method. And that's it. If you made it this far, thanks for watching.